Oh, welcome back, everyone, to Slightly Sideways. We're talking to Peter Pasco, better known as Pedro, the cartoon man. And Pedro, we talked about when you were a kid and, what it was like going to Claremont and stuff like that, and even, Bunbury at times.
Yep.
But heroes, everyone had heroes of football and cricket and, those things. Well, series cricket was then and it was massive Packer and all that. But people like us had bigger heroes at the racetrack. And
Absolutely.
who were some of your heroes that you just were like, yep, that's my guy in that division and that's it?
Well, behind me, Rod Watson. Rod got out of Speedway early in
terms of length.
Yeah. Rod, first of all, started off with the Morley Park panel beaters Holden. And when I was going as a very young kid in the late 60s, Rod would start at the back and just go round the outside and clean everyone up.
Great job.
And Rod Watson was just everyone's hero, just a bit like Laurie Hardy, just got that factor of something about them.
Yep.
And, of course, their cars. And Rod, went from Forestfield in a hot rod, which he bought, I think, for $50 or something.
Yeah.
And then got the big sponsorship.
Yeah, what a famous car that is.
Carbon brakes with the big banger Ford. You got a wing on the top of that one. That they allowed that for a season, I think.
Probably when he whipped them, they said no.
So he was always a guy that was like, up there. You get the magazines from over east and it'd have pictures of Rod Watson winning things over the East Coast. And wrong way Rod Watson when he went up the wrong way up one of the tracks and he got christened with that for a while and all these things out of magazines and you just think, wow, like fantastic. Well, it was so big.
Yeah.
It was so much popularity and everything about.
How amazing to have this in your possession. This is actually Pedro's from his own personal collection, and we wanted to show you today.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I met Rod after all the years I'd heard his name and people talk about him. And I'd heard he lived in Mandurah and but never had the opportunity to meet with him.
Yeah.
And was at the Classic Speedway Showcase in 2017. And we had the Laurie Hardy Monaro, which kindly I had that donated to me from Tony Supol, who bought the actual car and
what a great piece of art.
Arranged for it to be restored. And that's a Jamie Nardini. Superstar.
Yeah, he's great.
You're a superstar, Jamie. So we had this on show at Gloucester Park.
Yep.
And Laurie was there signing autographs and, Barry Blake was there and I happened to be wandering past and I heard someone mention Rod Watson. And I thought, oh, okay. And I said, did you mention Rod Watson? He said, yeah, he's over there. Where? Which
kid in the candy shop?
Oh, mate. So he said, yeah, that guy over there. So I went over and tapped him on the shoulder and introduced myself. And he said, oh, you're Pedro? Yeah. He said, look, I don't know if you can help me or not, but he said, I've got a big box of books and photos and different things. He said, I'd love to put it onto Facebook, but I don't know how to do it. Could you help me?
It's like Elvis saying, can you write me a song?
So we arranged to meet, went to his place. He and his wife, Vicky, hi Vicky, gave me lunch and I scanned and we chatted and whatever. Fantastic. Lovely bloke. Like, just like I'd known him for 100 years.
How cool of an experience.
An experience. And I was about to go and I think Vicky said, oh, you haven't showed him what you got in your wardrobe. So she went away and got it, came back. And it's the two-piece Rod Watson race suit. That's the top half, the bottom half with it. And look at this. Cobra, Ford, carbon brakes, GTHOs. I just melted And there's a photo of him in the top right corner. number one on the podium in that race suit.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So he offered it to me there and then. I said, mate, I can't take your race suit. Like,
Yeah.
thank you, but you know, we'll leave it for another day. And I wasn't prepared.
You probably weren't ready.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought, I can't take that.
What do you mean? I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Is that how you felt? Yeah.
Yeah, don't deserve it. So, unfortunately, as we all know, Anzac Day 2019, Rod suddenly passed away, and Vicky was kind enough to offer me this. He said Rod wanted to give it to you, and so that I got it framed, and as you can see, that's the sash for the 1971 WA Production Car Championship.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have photos that I've got from collected through the years, and now that's pride of place in the study. And
and it's great that it's preserved, history.
And I try and take it wherever there's something on that, with Speedway related. And I bought an easel and just stick it there and let people enjoy it.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
He was a superstar, and, same as Laurie Hardy and Stan Starcevich and the Mustang and Barry Blake and Cardi, all the sedan guys. I just love the sedans too, especially when it got into the 70s with the big bangers.
Yeah.
And the Wayne Negus and Vic Trimble in the minis. They just sensational. Absolutely sensational. To think that, these big V8s and these minis are pushing their way through on the corners.
Yeah.
And then they burn them off, and then into the corner, the mini would come back again and go inside them and push them out the way. And just super stuff. Yeah. Yep. And speed cars, well, Jeff Stan and John Fenton, and how many?
Yeah. And we're so lucky that,
how many guys do you admire? And, Keith Mann and...
were you the kid that sort of went around to the pits and tried to have a look in, see what they were doing before the racing, if you can get there, or even as an adult, really?
As an adult,
take that in, get the methanol in your eyes and all the burning. But it's like, this is good, bud.
Yeah, this is bringing tears. And
tears I don't care.
As a kid, we went straight down to our spot and then straight off. So I didn't get to look in the pits, but I was lucky enough because of my drawings, we'll get onto that too, that I got a season pass which got me into the pits. And that really I'll never be able to thank Con enough for giving me an opportunity to be involved like that.
Yeah.
When I look back to my early drawings, mate, it was embarrassing. But I sent them in, and he must have thought they were okay, and Tom O may have said,
hey, give it a go. So how old were you then when you sent them off?
That was 1994, so I was 30-something, 30, 1984. So it's the 84-85 season when I first put my drawings in.
Right.
And I finished up getting a full page. And then on busy nights with advertising and stuff, it might go down to a half. But generally for the first 3 or 4 seasons, I'd get a full Pedro's page.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was fantastic. Huh? Awesome.
It would have been great for you, but it was great for us. Because, flicking through and getting, look at that, that's wicked, because I used to draw but nothing like you. It was
come on.
a bit of a, this and that, and a ruler here, and get the cap of the spray can or whatever, and do the wheels. But you had all 3D and all this, but then you didn't just draw the car, and you drew people's faces, and they looked like them. And
that's the main thing.
The detail, but in their race, it was like the sponsors or whatever. You put it all in, and then you always put a little Pedro in there. Somewhere. And I always used to look for that. It was like, where's Wally?
I couldn't believe the amount of people that said to me, I look for your Pedro all the time. I didn't do it to become a celebrity or anything. I just loved
what you did.
What I did. And it goes back to my wife, Colleen. She said that when there was a cartoonist named Rickard, and he was doing the cartoons in the program in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And then for some reason it stopped, and I found out since that he left and went over east. And there wasn't any cartoons in there. And Colleen said to me, you should have a go at that. You know, but I wasn't really an artist. I used to print nicely and neatly and more of care about what I wrote and printed. So I just went home and gave it a go, and I didn't realise I could do it. To be honest, it's no bull. I never really knew.
Yeah.
You know,
you didn't believe that you were probably good enough to have it done like that in a take-my program.
Yeah. No way. And I gave it a go, and obviously, you know, I got my confidence and I got better at it. And always the biggest fear with being an artist that draws someone is getting it right, because like all sorts of art, it's, you know, some people see an artwork and say, that's fantastic. And others say, well, that's crap. You know,
it's all eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
In a way.
So everybody looks at things and sees something different.
Yep.
And to get a facial feature right with an expression and all that, and that was my biggest fear, was doing something that didn't look like the guy. Or the girl.
Yeah.
You know, and I suppose I was lucky enough to be able to capture that in most cases. There's a few that I didn't and I wasn't happy with, but you have timelines and you've got...
Absolutely. I was just going to ask you then, you know, you race on Friday nights then. So how long roughly, I mean, obviously different styles would take different time, but how long did you have to, or did you sort of think, oh, I'm going to do this guy in 3 or 4 weeks, so I can sort of start it now and take a few nights? How does that...
in the beginning, I would depend on getting a photo in the program to do, like a photo of someone's face. Right? I didn't go around, you know, shooting.
So you just pick up an old program.
I just pick up a program, say, and I tried not to concentrate on the big stars either.
Yes.
You know,
you covered a lot of people.
Yeah. And it was one of my things that, you know, you don't repeat people. So once you've done one, you don't do it again until a couple of years later if they got a different car or
anniversary or
or something big, like a win a Lawson medal or something, you know. So I tried to include people that didn't get a lot of, you know, newsworthy stuff, and not
which was great for them. I mean,
I think so. I'm always for the underdog a bit, and you know, so I was lucky enough to be able to have, and I'd hand the next week's in at the Friday night, so because they had to have it ready on the Sunday to give to make the program ready, because I think Brad and Con, or Wade and Con, used to sit, and you had to have it in by Monday night, I think, for the following program.
Yeah, because it'd be done by Wednesday, packaged and ready.
So it was just a very tight thing. So I'd get ahead of myself a bit, and I'd make sure I give the next week's in on the Friday night.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad, but if you're stuck for material, it gets a bit tight.
You did also angles, but you did angles on cars that weren't actually photographed at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't like you got a photo and you went, oh, yeah, I'm just going to copy that exactly.
Yeah.
You had wheels up and cars cocked. And as a, you know, photographer myself, those pictures weren't available. Technology, you couldn't, you know, electrons, and you got those angles.
Yeah.
Were they in your head or?
I started off, well, it's not cheating, but I started off drawing the car in a, you know, with a bit of attitude. You know, 3 wheels in the air or something and the front end up. And so I had those, and I sort of based most of my drawings on that.
Yeah.
And it was also important too to get the sign writing right and get the sponsors right and have it just like it is.
Yep.
You know, that was all part. It was very important to me to get it right. And I remember once I did Mick McKeon early in my first year, my first season. And it was just a picture of Mick just at the start line, you know, holding onto the handlebars and whatever and just looking ahead.
Yep.
And he came up to me later. I can't remember how much later, but he came up to me and he said, Pedro, you've put the wrong sponsor on my breastplate.
Oh.
I said, oh, Mick, what? He said, yeah. The week before, he had something on there, Bellcrest Homes, and it had changed to Design 5. And from that time on,
Yep.
I was very, very conscious
Yeah.
of, I mean, he said it as I think
Sort of a
joke,
joke,
but I've changed my sponsor, and
Yeah.
so from then on, I was always pretty aware that things change in a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once you get something, you'd be right with photography and stuff, you got to have it right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But you live and learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to have a look at some of Pedro's artwork, and you can see the ones that never actually got to see it in person, and the ones that did, they can relive some of those great memories in some of Pedro. So enjoy some of his artwork.